Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is July 7th, and it is Hump Day. I always love Hump Day. I don't know why. It's just something's half over, something's glass half empty. I don't know. Ryan, I just noticed. What shirt are you wearing? Are you wearing a YouTube shirt?
No, it's a soccer jersey, LAFC, the most exciting team in soccer anywhere in the world. Not the best team, but the most exciting team, most fun to watch.
I love that. Speaking, okay, all right, we're joined today by obviously Ryan NFT Hair Gorman,
Yeah,
and
buddy.
we have crypto analyst from MarketRebellion.com, CJ, who's barely staying with us here, and Monty, who has taken the day off to go fishing down by the stream. So I do want to bring, there's something that really is exciting today that I really want you to show us, Ryan. And I know you think I'm talking about one thing, but I'm really talking about White Castle.
Oh my God. Yes.
Can you please display to the viewers the coolest thing? I'm going to wear all of this stuff every day for the rest of my life, possibly.
Hold on. Here we go. And look at this. Look what Puma has. They have a White Castle collection, right? They got hoodies, they got t-shirts, they got shorts, they got shoes. I think though the hoodie, I picked up one of these. I got one of these blue t-shirts coming, but the shoes, I wish I saw this before I bought anything, because look at these shoes. These shoes are amazing. I dropped the ball.
Read the back of the other one.
Oh, the other one too. What is it? Buy him by the sack, a legend in a bun. Look at this.
It's amazing. Oh my God.
White Castle shoes. I ate White Castle sliders for lunch today, by the way, Alex.
Oh, damn you.
Gotta get down to the Supermax, my friend. They're there. And CJ is just like, whenever this White Castle conjecture is over, I'll rejoin the conversation.
Does White Castle have a stock we can TA?
I wish they had a location in Puerto Rico, because I'm craving.
Oh my gosh. Also, want to mention today's an exciting day for all of us at Trade the Chain in our community on this YouTube. We joined Voyager in becoming a sponsor for the 2021 season with the number 4 Xfinity NASCAR, and the driver, our good friend Landon Castle. So we're super proud of that. I don't even have a graphic for it or anything, but
hold on one second.
If you didn't hear the news, we are now sponsors of Landon Castle's number 4 Xfinity NASCAR. And so we look forward to seeing everybody rooting them on at all the races.
Yeah,
so
logo prominently on there, all proudly displayed. And Landon is a member of our Trade the Chain community. He's in the Discord server. He chats with members. He's active and he's engaged. So excuse me. That's just another added benefit of partnering with Landon, as we have.
And Peter Schiff's in the house. We got our first thumbs down. So,
but also, Alex, one more thing that's important to know about this partnership is that throughout the remainder of the season, there's, I think, up to 16 races left, depending on how the playoffs go. I'm not exactly sure how the Xfinity Series playoffs work, but I do know that the races that are remaining and we have left in the season, I think it's a total of 16, we're going to be holding a series of VIP events for Trade the Chain members. We're going to have, we have pit passes, hospitality, all these things, all these added benefits for Trade the Chain members, meet and greets with Landon. So if you want to meet a NASCAR driver, you know where to find us, tradethechain.com.
100%. I just got a text from our boy Uncle Steve over at Voyager. I was like, oh man, is he watching? Did we say something wrong? But no, he just wants to talk about staking. Because I think Landon and Steve are actually out in Vegas today, teaching educating NFL players at their annual symposium about crypto. So super excited about that. But that being said, let's jump into it. People are going to start unsubscribing, and CJ's going to just downright quit. Yours to go, Ryan. Take it away.
Unfortunately, you can't short White Castle. It's been privately held since 1921, so it's a 100-year-old company.
Oh,
But
wow.
you can't trade it. It's privately held.
Would love to find
Just
that
for the record.
Would love to find that family office, though, from a hedge fund manager. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain and Market Rebellion is strictly for educational and informational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment advice. Do not listen to us, except when we say to root for Landon Castle this Saturday in Atlanta. Trade the Chain is brought to you by TradeTheChain.com, a global community of traders, including professional athletes, crypto enthusiasts, investors, and more all around the world. That's global, so I guess it is all around the world. Wow. And they're of all ages, all backgrounds, all abilities, all skill levels, and all using AI-driven sentiment indicators to help them beat the market, along with those actionable alerts. If you, too, want to be a member of Trade the Chain and trade like a crypto insider, head on over to TradeTheChain.com.
And then moving over to marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is myself and Monty in our community at Market Rebellion. And with us, you get trade ideas on a weekly basis, as well as access to our full-on crypto charting platform and trading education curriculum. We're really big on giving you guys the best education and tools available in the market so that you can gain a crypto trading edge. If you go to marketrebellion.com/crypto, you can try the first month subscription for only $1. So please do that. We have a mobile app as well, and we appreciate it, guys. I will ask you, gentlemen, is there anything you'd like to say here before we get into the technicals? But I have a question for you as well regarding Cent Token and the trading competition around that. How has that been? Have you guys announced a winner? I know you had a boatload of participants. Is that right?
Yeah, huge amount of participants. That was over in the Bitcoin.com exchange. No, I mean, the folks over at Bitcoin.com exchange are managing all that. The contest ended, I believe, 24 hours or so ago. But there was, right? Yeah. I mean, the leaderboard had some people, some traders with some great volume and stuff like that. So super excited to see. I think the announcement soon, but that's a good question. I'll hit Donish and find out when that's going to be announced.
We had 496 participants join, not we, but the competition itself had 496 participants join. And just based on the leaderboard itself, I mean, this is all unofficial, but I think if we show what we have here on the leaderboard, it feels like one person really kind of
dominated.
Yeah, I think he may have won.
Like 10 point something in BTC volume, right?
10.5, yeah, King Crypto. Followed by
That's a lot of Skidoo. That's a lot of White Castle burgers, my friend.
Okay, Tony.
I do. No, before you get into the tea, I do want to just say one thing. One, CJ is always good. He forgets to plug the Daily Crypto Bite. That's him and Monty. And down in the description, you can find that link, as well as there was something else I was going to say and totally forgot. Oh, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you.
Or don't hit the like button. You can hit the dislike button. It still works. I mean, people still find us. So, but we hope you hit the like button.
All right, CJ, go ahead. It's yours.
So first up, let's go down to the Trade the Chain dashboard, see how our relative trading volume's going. Still pretty bearish in terms of just not really seeing any volume. And ETH continues to have that kind of decreasing relative trading volume. So interesting to note there. Really nothing changing too much in terms of hourly and daily sentiment since we've checked last, but we are creeping up here a little bit towards 35K here in the market. But let's dive into the analysis and look at the charts here. So first thing I really like to point to is the upward sloping MACD that we have here. The fact that we actually have positive momentum in that while price kind of remains neutral to even downward is pretty bullish. And I like that we continue to create higher lows on the MACD as we potentially go into even further bullish territory. But furthermore, we know that resistance we've got, right? And there is an immense amount of it right in this red resistance channel from about 36 to 37. So that's going to be critical to break above. And ultimately the trend is creating lower highs and higher lows. So we're ultimately creating kind of this symmetrical triangle in which price will likely break strongly in one direction or the other. Nonetheless, I think we're getting closer and closer to a bottom each day. I think there's a very high likelihood that this TD sequential buy 9, in fact, does end up being the low for the trend, and we bottom here. Also, I want to share something that one of our community members at Market Rebellion brought to our attention and posted in the room last night. This is from an individual named Josh Nardi. And this is the crypto fear and greed index. And you can see where we're at right now. We're very fearful. We're actually just as fearful as we were at the bottom depths of the bear market in December to January of 2018 and 2019. So what has price done after being in these very oversold levels? Well, let's take a look. Each one of these lines marks the areas on the chart in which we were deeply, deeply oversold or fearful on the crypto fear and greed index. So COVID, obviously that one was a black swan, and we rallied very strongly after that fear level. Same thing when we hit our bottom in 2018. So a lot of times we do get rallies from these price levels. And I think it's interesting to note that sentiment here in terms of the fear and greed index as well. Overall, I said this morning, but I want to reiterate it. It's like, if you were around back then, if you were around in the bear market when we experienced this drop, there were a lot of people saying Bitcoin was dying. And, there was tons of analysts, some of the most popular in the space, in fact, calling for a $1,500 or an $1,800 Bitcoin. And there were many people at 4,000 and 3,000 who were waiting to see a price of $2,000 Bitcoin, but it just never happened, right? And I think the same thing is likely going to occur here now that we're at around 30,000. It's kind of the same as where we were at in 3,000 in a sense, because we have such a conglomeration of people who are bearish on Bitcoin from a technical or fundamental perspective, be it, and they're waiting for $20,000 to come. But I don't think we're going to go down that far at this current point, especially with how we've just been kind of consolidating and ultimately bearish momentum is getting eradicated from this market. So that's what I'll start it with.
I don't know that necessarily bearish market has been eradicated from the market, but there is one thing that we momentum has. Right. Possibly. But one sign that the market may be gearing up for a comeback or, a rise back into the 40,000s range soon is that hash rate has recovered. As everyone expected it to, after China kind of just booted all the miners out, they're starting to come back online and hash rate's recovering, which means that there's more activity in the market, right? And when there's more activity in the market, that means more people are transacting, more entities are transacting, and more miners are coming back online, which means that should eventually, it leads to a rise in price. How far up it goes, who knows? How much it recovers and how quickly it recovers is still up in the air. But we have another metric that people look at in terms of price action that's starting to recover and rebound.
All right. I like that. I do agree with you, Ryan. And I know that's a funny thing for anybody to say on this show. I agree with you, Ryan. But every once in a while, he does have the popular vote. I do agree. The hash rate's up. Now with you, CJ, what's going to give you conviction? I'm not going to use the Alexism affirmation. I'm not going to use your word confirmation. What's going to give you conviction that we've bottomed out and our momentum to the downside has ended?
I'll show you. This level right here, if we get above that and it flips from resistance currently to new support, then I think it's fair to say that this is likely the most probabilistic bottom. And at that point, once we can really form support at around, 39, just anywhere above this volume at price resistance level, that's when I want to get fully in the crypto market for like short-term trading. If we're talking about long-term trading, like where we think the market's gonna be in 6 to 8 months, I'm already fine with scaling in. Even if we go down to levels like 27, I'm fine. I'll buy all the way down to those levels in the long term. But in the short term, I want to see us get above that critical resistance level to give us the best possible probability of price going in our direction right from the trade.
Another sign that we may be heading for a bit of a rebound. New Bitcoin wallet addresses are up 2.38%, according to Glassnode data. Addresses with a non-zero balance have kind of, I guess, hit a trough where they're not dropping anymore. They're up 0.01%. And addresses with a balance at all are up 0.06%. So we're starting to see a little bit more activity among the retail sector. And that could be a positive sign as well.
I think it's purely because of the news that we sponsored the NASCAR today that those wallet addresses are up.
I'll take it. I'll take credit for that.
Okay, very cool. Now, we promised the folks something yesterday, and that was to discuss the London fork on Ethereum, what it really means to people. It includes protocols like the EIP 1559 and I believe 3 others or so. But, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there on what it's actually going to do. And I kind of want to just set the record straight for folks as clearly and plainly as possible. So maybe we start off, CJ, could you do a little TA on Ethereum, and then we'll let kind of Ryan go. Where'd Ryan go?
Sorry, my dog.
Oh,
the joy of live streaming.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting where we're at in Ethereum relative to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is still far below its moving averages like this. So just for a little context, this white line, this white moving average that we're looking at is the 20 smooth moving average. And we use that to determine trend. So if we're above that and it's, ascending, then we can determine that we're in a bullish trend all along this way. However, once price goes below that and we flip and it becomes resistance, therefore we're in a bear trend. So we're right at a crossroads now where we're beginning to turn up in the smooth moving average, and price is beginning to break that resistance level to possibly form new support. So that's really good from a bullish perspective. The other thing that's really nice from a bullish perspective is this kind of violet lavender color line that I have. And that is the top Bollinger Band with a 1 standard deviation. And we're above that one as well. And so while the smooth moving average shows us what the trend is dictated, the top Bollinger Band ultimately dictates entry and exit points and how we determine those in the market. So we talked about Bollinger Bands a little bit in the past, but when we get a confirmed close above the upper band and it is ascending, then that is a trigger to enter and to ride that trade. And then the sign to exit is by using this top Bollinger Band as a trailing stop. So the first close that we get below that top band, you're out of the trade. And that would have been a really successful method for getting the majority of this move here, right? So how do we take that concept and extrapolate it to our current trend? Well, we're starting to see the breakout of that level, and we're starting to see a close above that band as it starts to turn over. So we're getting a tentative entry signal on Ethereum. The only thing that makes me a little skeptical is this TD Cell 9. But until we go below those moving averages, I'm going to remain very bullish on Ethereum overall, especially as we go into this London fork and, excitement kind of brews around that whole fundamental narrative. But with that being said, I'll pass it back to you, gentlemen.
Before we get into what you mentioned, Alex, talking about the London hard fork, I think a few things that concern me about what's going on with Ethereum is that the number of active addresses are still drastically down and they haven't begun to rebound. Transactions on the Ethereum network haven't begun to rebound, and hash rate is down significantly and it hasn't begun to rebound yet. So we have all of these kind of counting against Ethereum rebounding. And, maybe this could be, I forget the exact technical term because I'm not the analyst that CJ is, not even half, so I wouldn't pretend to be, but like maybe a false bull flag or something. Like it just feels like it's not going to recover as quickly as the chart may say it will, just based on the fundamentals that I'm seeing in front of me.
The term for that would be bear trap, or no, bull trap. My bad.
Bull trap.
Not
Bull
a
traps
honey,
the bulls.
not a honey hole, not a honey hole.
That's not a technical term.
It's a fun term though.
Let me. This is a good question, and I do want to touch on this before we do get into the technicals or the fundamentals of the Ethereum London fork. Porf has a great question in the chat, and I actually was curious about the answer too. How many bull markets spend a lot of time, and I don't know what the metric is for a lot of time, below the 20-week SMA? Is it a regular occurrence, or is it a rarity?
Let me look at my weekly charts. I mean, not a whole lot, not a whole lot of time. I mean, that pretty much it's like the 200-day moving average in the sense that it's a very long moving average. So if prices are consistently rising for a sustained amount of time, you're definitely going to be above that moving average, and that's going to constitute a bull market. When you fall below, I mean, you can define bear or bull market however you want, but going back up to try and break that level, it's always going to act as resistance, especially because it's such a longer term moving average that you mentioned.
Okay. Then let's go into the Ethereum fundamentals of this London fork. I mean, to Austin's chat there about buying Cent and the gas fees being ridiculous. I mean, this is what we're trying to debunk here. Is this going to work? Is it not going to work? Is it even meant for this? So, Ryan, why don't you lead us off on this discussion, bud?
Sure. So I guess there are two things. There are 5 different proposals that are in the Ethereum, London hard fork. But I think the ones that are of most interest to most people are around fees and around Ethereum's difficulty bomb, as many people have put it. So the first one, EIP 1559 or 1559, basically it intends to overhaul the whole fee structure of Ethereum to make it an inflationary aspect by burning an amount of the fees generated to decrease miner revenue. And I think there's a way where it levels off the fees, or it kind of finds a way to average them out so they don't go too high. It doesn't mean that fees will come down necessarily, but it finds a way to kind of average out the fees. So some people who are paying a lot don't pay a lot. Some people who aren't paying a lot, they end up paying a little bit more, but it's a more fair fee structure across the board. And then EIP 3554, the difficulty bomb, basically the whole idea behind that is to increase the difficulty of mining on the Ethereum network to freeze proof of work in preparation for the Ethereum blockchain's move to proof of stake. And that's been delayed to December 1st, from what I can tell.
Whoa! Wait, hold on a sec. You're telling me this has been split up, these different protocol proposals?
Correct. Yes. The EIP 1559 appears to be launching on August 4th, and then the difficulty bomb will be December 1st.
Okay.
According to this article from yesterday by Miles Sherman at CoinDesk.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely check out these 2 articles. We'll drop the links in the chat. I'll do that the minute somebody else starts talking here and edit it. Let's see. Just curious, why did you look at the weekly chart while discussing a 50-day moving average, and we look at the daily chart for DMA? That's over to you, CJ.
Yeah, because Porf asked to look at the 20-week SMA. So obviously you look at the weekly chart for that. You look at the daily chart if you're looking at a daily moving average. I might have misspoke or something. Sorry for that confusion.
So I guess back to the London hard fork, people are concerned about some of the impacts it's going to have on ETH's price. I guess, CJ, you're much more of an expert at this than either myself or Alex are. In terms of conversations you're having with traders, what you're seeing at Market Rebellion with the data you guys have, and what we've seen in terms of sentiment on Trade the Chain, what do you think ultimately will be the impact first of the August 4th rollout and then eventually of December 1st?
I think it could be a potential buy the news or buy the rumor, sell the news type event. Obviously, it's not a rumor. We kind of know what's going to happen. So it might even be almost priced into the market at that point. I think Ethereum's trending bullish right now. I think Bitcoin's starting to turn up and be bullish as well. But I don't see this fork as being a perfect cure-all to Ethereum's gas fees. I think it's a slight improvement, but there are still very large systematic flaws that Ethereum needs to work on. So while it's a step in the right direction, I don't think it's going to be the massive influence on price that many propose it will. I could see us seeing a lead up in price going into this and then potentially a sell-off. But I don't expect this event to be as influential as something like an options expiration date, because the market participants are more kind of active in that sense. But we'll see. It's kind of like the same type of outcome as the GBTC unlock.
Just going to ask you about that. So this isn't any kind of panacea for Ethereum fees, but do you think it'll have more of an impact than the GBTC lockup ending? Or do you think GBTC, just because of the psychology built into it, and all of the FUD in the mainstream media and elsewhere that don't really understand how GBTC works, do you think that GBTC will have more of an impact on Bitcoin?
I think it could be bullish. I mean, I thought you guys did a really nice job of covering that in yesterday's episode. If anyone has not heard the GBTC lockup ending discussion, I definitely recommend them to check out yesterday's episode. But, I just don't understand why funds would short into Bitcoin at these price levels. Sure, we have negative sentiment, but from a technical perspective, I see this for funds as a point to scale in and get Bitcoin at a cheap price. Anything below 35,000, I think is a really good macro hedge fund buy. That's going to be good for the next 6 to 8 months. So I don't see the sentiment for shorting BTC at these levels from a fund's perspective. I just don't think there's a good risk reward profile.
Well, no, because we've talked so much about how funds, institutions, asset managers, and corporates all got into Bitcoin between 20 and 25,000. So you have a very limited range of outcomes if you're shorting Bitcoin right now, whereas you could get your face ripped off if it rips to the upside, and you just don't want that to happen.
I think that's why CJ yesterday, I don't want to talk to him, is one of the reasons why cash and carry is blown out. I mean, it's such to try to arb the shorts on the options. You could, like you said, get your face ripped off. It's a very scary prospect. So, and then you have a bunch of angry investors who'll drive their Ferraris through your living room wall. Are we still live? So here's the question that's really important, and I say this from a investor point of view. Where do we place our bets? Because you have L2s out there, okay, so you have all these other chicks. You have the Polys, you have the AVAXs, the BSCs. You have, places like Loopring or Relay that do bridging. Where do we place our bets? Who do you think is going to win? Is there even going to be a winner? Silence falls over the room.
I'm just curious what CJ thinks before I give my 2 cents, my 2 sats.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like who's going to win, Cardano or Ethereum. It doesn't really matter, right? Like, that's not the greatest question to ask when it comes from like an investment perspective. What I like, and we had this question earlier in our webinar, which is like, what are the top 5 alts that you like for the next 6 to 8 months? I like things that are going to generate high interest yields, things like DOT, get that 12% APY, things like Link, Luna, some other projects. So I'm not necessarily betting on, like the project that's going to solve gas fees. Nonetheless, there are opportunities in that sector, like some of those that you mentioned. But at our current point, we have so many projects with a low barrier to entry that it's difficult to kind of pinpoint one. So what I'm looking for is kind of those mid to larger cap assets to start, like Link, like Dot, like Luna as well. And then we'll kind of see where things go. And if there are some shorter term plays around fundamental scaling projects like Loopring or, a Mise Go or something like those, then I might speculate in those as well. But those aren't assets that I'm per se accumulating right now.
So let me ask you this, CJ, before I get into what I would, where I'd place my bets. Cardano's up over 1,200%, 1,250% over the past 12 months. I don't feel like it's overvalued despite going up that much. What are your thoughts on that?
Do you know how much Ethereum is up to date relative to that? Because I'm curious.
Ethereum over the past year is up 874%.
I want to interject real quick. I'm curious, Ryan, why you don't think it's overvalued. And I'm not hating on ADA. I'm just being devil's advocate. Why do you think it's not overvalued yet when there's only promises right now?
Because despite what we've repeatedly said over and over again, people are building on Cardano. And, they're starting to line up partnerships. They're working, I forget which government in Africa, but they're starting to prove out the use cases. Yes, I know Haskell.
World Mobile. No, you're right. I forgot World Mobile. From our friend James is over in London, has been ambassador of for 3 years, and I think Rob over Digital Asset News recently. But you're absolutely right. World Mobile seems like a pretty cool project.
They have things that are starting to come out, and I think the reason it took this long is because of Haskell. Right? This is a conversation that we've had with Lucas, both CJ and I separately, you and I, Alex, separately. Why would you force everyone to learn a different language? Only because you can. But also because by doing so, it took longer to develop things and build projects on the Cardano network than it did on ETH or elsewhere. And I just feel like that, and maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong so many times, and everyone loves to point it out when I am, but I don't think I am. I feel like more projects are going to come out. There's going to be more usage, more adoption, and I just feel like Cardano has a lot more room to run, even then, from a percentage basis, than even ETH does now. And everyone knows how I feel about ETH. I feel like there's more potential upside in Cardano than there is in a lot of other projects.
Okay, I mean, I'd definitely like to look more into Polygon. I think Poly is definitely.
Oh yeah, Poly, Matic. Matic has done amazingly well. Matic is up 5,600% over the past year. Right? And that doesn't feel like it's overvalued. So just rising astronomically doesn't mean that a coin is overvalued. It just means it was that drastically undervalued.
Did anybody hear, just jumping subjects for a sec, did anybody hear that Rob is going to be airdropping tomato coin to his ADA holders, his Cardano? Yeah, he put the marinara on the blockchain.
Earn the sauce. But also, like other projects, just to go back to your original question, Alex, not to cut you off, but other projects that I feel like have a lot of potential upside, Loopring, Stormex. I'm still standing behind Stormex. They have so much going on. They have such a robust ecosystem. Their involvement with an NBA team now shows how they're stable financially, and they have much more room to build going forward. They have that stable foundation, and getting back Walmart, Simon, if you're listening, if you can get back Walmart, that would be such a great coup. And, I could keep buying my sneakers and getting money back. It'd be amazing. But
I love how we're all going over such like sophisticated fundamental analysis when Doge and SHIB will probably end up outperforming all of these projects.
You know how much Doge is up over the last year? Despite
Go ahead.
8,800%.
Yeah.
What is that?
So it's tough to. All right, Doge is the GMC of crypto. I mean,
listen, I have to be neutral when it comes to the Shiba army. They're friends with the Voyager people. The Voyager, what's Voyager? Is it a Voyager army too? Is everybody just an army?
VGX army, Voyagers.
Yeah. I mean, and I love the Voyager family, and they're friends with them now, and the coin was on the NASCAR. So let's not badmouth the Shiba people, okay?
One more that we haven't talked about in a while, Chili's with the sports NFTs. I really do think that there's a market for that still. And I think that as more athletes get involved and more leagues get behind it, I think that they could be on the precipice of something huge that could, just replace the trading card market. Like you saw how long Topps and Fleer and all these other companies just built a massive business off of physical trading cards. People are moving away from that and into NFTs. And if you could transition that market into something like what Chili's has built, I really do think that there is massive upside there.
I agree with you there. Spot on. As long as Binance, who I know back them, doesn't get too involved. I just don't want to see Binance get too involved with a project that's, ready for liftoff.
Z Robman in the comments on the YouTube stream agrees with me. LAFC are the most entertaining team, exciting team in world football. Not the best, just the most exciting.
I was going to ask you what crypto that was a ticker for.
LAFC? No. The most exciting team in world football.
Oh my gosh. All right. My personal opinion is the course of the next 12 months to next summer are probably going to be some of the most interesting months that we live through because of all these other chains vying for ETH's market share. And I really do. I think it's going to be phenomenal. Listen, we all know Bitcoin is the Bitcoin standard. We're all in it. We're in it for the long haul, except for, something, Ryan, just let me have a speech. Okay. I'm getting momentum here. But the Ethereum race is really what's going to be interesting. And I hope, listen, Cardano, it seems very successful. It has a great team. It has a super hungry community. Polygon, the same thing. AVAX, Avalanche, same thing. But it's going to affect how we transact in the future. So it's going to be interesting, man.
If we're all on the Bitcoin standard, just to go back to what you just said there, because Brandon in the comments asked a great question. Would you, if let's say you're an asset manager, would you enter into a large long-term Bitcoin position today, or would you wait?
Of course.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I mean, did you see the fear and greed index earlier? It's so bad, and people are.
It's like a bottom on that index. It's almost like
yeah.
All right. Anybody else have anything to say? By the way, guys, we sponsored a race car today.
We did. Hot Coin Summer.
Hot Coin Summer. Okay, cool. Let's we'll close it up today. I really upset. I'm so sorry, guys. Should have asked Lucas to see if he was available to come on, talk about the Ethereum thing. Couple things. One is I've been texting with Graham over at Zero Exchange /Relay about coming on to talk about that swap. I'm trying to get him on for tomorrow. Also, we have Simon from Stormex coming on Friday, and that will be with our friend Pat Ackerman. And then that's about. I mean, that's all the excitement we can bring you in 1 week. We sponsored a race car today.
We did sponsor a race car, and because of that, sorry, CJ. Because of that, Alex and I will be in Atlanta this weekend, and we'll do like a live stream or something from the track. Even
Anybody going to the Hot Atlanta race, hit us up. Let us know. CJ, go ahead.
Is Graham going to show his face?
No.
Graham is not. He's like, no. When we had Satoshi Nakamoto on our show a year ago, did he show his face? No.
Graham is not Satoshi Nakamoto, but no disrespect whatsoever. Anyways, that's all I got to say. One
closing part. Ibra Privé. Where do you guys buy your crypto? CJ, what platforms do you use to buy your crypto before we sign off?
I use Voyager. Market Rebellion has a partnership with them, but not only do I use them because of that, but also because the interest rates, they're paying really high rates. So you can check that out if you haven't seen them already.
Ryan Gorman, what platforms do you use to buy crypto?
Voyager, Uniswap, Zero. It's pretty much the gamut there for the same reasons as CJ. The high interest rates are just so attractive.
Yeah, agreed.
I do like Ledger X for Bitcoin options. I mean, they're good because they're in the United States, but liquidity is pretty dry right now. So there's really large spreads, but they did just add Ethereum options as well in the US. So hopefully once a lot of liquidity comes into that exchange, spreads will tighten up and it'll get more feasible to employ some more advanced option strategies to crypto. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to and waiting on as this overall market matures.
How does liquidity now compare to at the height of the bull run on LedgerX?
I mean, it's still just a very small exchange in the sense that the user base is not tremendously large. Even back then, it wasn't. There were very tight spreads. Also, in options, when the market is more volatile, the options are going to be more expensive, and so that also plays a factor into the spreads as well. So,
gotcha.
Interesting. Yeah, same here. I use Voyager as my primary, Coinbase when I'm drunk, Uniswap and Zero when I need to do some funky stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching today. Hang on to your handlebars as always. We sponsored a car today. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. And we will see you tomorrow. Leave your market questions in the comments. Thank you.